Hello students, welcome to Gopal iCampus. Gopal iCampus is a dedicated channel for the students preparing for NEET examination. In this channel, first we will release the videos of botany syllabus of 11th and 12th class. Later, videos of other subjects like zoology, physics and chemistry will be released very soon. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever a new video is placed in this channel. In this video, we are going to learn about the chapter that is Cell, the Unit of Life. So Cell, the Unit of Life is one of the important chapters from the NEET point of view from your 11th class syllabus. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the structure of the cell and the different parts of the cell and also their functions. Without wasting time, let us jump into our lesson. So first we have to learn about the term cytology. So what is this term cytology means? The term cytology can be defined as the branch of biology so that deals with the structure and the functions of the cell. Structure and the functions of the cells. Not only cells and their cell organelles also. Cell organelles. That is called as cytology. And this cytology, it is nowadays being called as cell biology. Why this cytology is being called as cell biology? Because after the invention of microscope, lot of developments happened in the field of microscopy. Due to these developments, and we were able to gather more and more knowledge about the cell and its components. So that is why the cell cytology, it became as big as the biology. So that is why cell cytology is nowadays being called as cell biology. So that is why cell biology is the modern term for cytology. Then what is actually a cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life or living organisms. Why it is called basic structural and functional unit of life? Because of two reasons. What are they? One, anything less than a cell cannot exist independently. Cannot exist independently. And two, anything less than a cell cannot perform all the activities of life. Because of these two reasons, a cell is called basic structural and functional unit of life. What does these two sentences means? See, an organism, it is made up of several organs. So that is why organism can be divided into several organs. These organs can be divided into several tissue systems and also tissues. These tissues can be divided into several cells. Now these cells, they can be divided into the components of the cells. Components of the cells. But from the level of the organism to the level of the cells, only you can find life. And from the level of the organism to the level of cells only, you can see activities of life. Activities of life. But when the cell is divided into its components, and you cannot find any life, and you cannot find any activities of life, any activities of life cannot be found when a cell is divided into its components. So that is why the minimum structure or the smallest structure that is required for the existence of the life and also for the performance of all the activities of the life is the cell. So that is why cell is called basic structural and functional unit of life. So next we have to learn about a brief account of the history of the cytology. The history of the cytology, it started with a person called Robert Hooke. Who is Robert Hooke? Robert Hooke is the father of cytology, right? And why he is the father of cytology? Because he is the first person who discovered the cell. And where Robert Hooke discovered a cell, Robert Hooke discovered cells in the bottle cork. Bottle cork is a piece of wood that is used to close the scent bottle. And this bottle cork is made from bark of a plant called silver oak, whose scientific name is Quercus suber. So he has taken thin slices of this bottle cork and he observed these thin slices under the microscope. When he observed under the microscope, and he has seen these compartment-like structures. And these compartment-like structures, he called them as cells. So the term cell was first coined by Robert Hooke. So the term cell, it means compartment. Compartment. But Robert Hooke first observed dead cells only. So in a dead cell, you can find only cell wall. You can find only cell wall. And so no protoplasm is seen in a dead cell. Protoplasm is absent in a dead cell. So that is why Robert Hooke actually observed cell walls only. So that is why cell walls were first discovered by Robert Hooke. Cell walls were first discovered by Robert Hooke. So Robert Hooke first discovered the cell. He actually discovered the cell walls and he discovered the dead cells and he has coined the term cell, which means compartment. And all his observations, and he has published in a book called Micrographia. Micrographia is the book published by Robert Hooke, right? And then, so when Robert Hooke observed dead cells, who actually observed living cells? The living cells were first observed by another person called Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek was the first person to discover the living cells. What are the living cells observed by Leeuwenhoek? He observed red blood cells, protozoans, spermatozoans, and bacteria. Among these, the red blood cells, protozoans, and spermatozoans, they are eukaryotes. Eukaryotes. And the bacteria, they are the prokaryotes. Bacteria are the prokaryotes. So the prokaryotes observed by Leeuwenhoek are the bacteria. The eukaryotes observed by Leeuwenhoek are the RBC, protozoans, spermatozoans. Right? So these protozoans, spermatozoans, bacteria, so they are all microorganisms. They are all microscopic. So that is why the microorganisms were first observed by Leeuwenhoek. That is why Leeuwenhoek is called the father of microbiology. He is the father of microbiology. After Leeuwenhoek, in the history comes the another person. His name is Robert Brown. Robert Brown, he discovered nucleus for the first time. Nucleus for the first time. Then another important event in the history of cytology is the proposal of cell theory. And this cell theory, it was proposed by Schleiden and also Schwann. Who is the Schleiden? So Schleiden was a German botanist. He belongs to the country Germany and he studied only plant cells, botany only. So he studied plant cells only. He studied only plant cells. Then, after studying the plant cells, he stated that all plants are made up of different cells, and all these different cells they form different tissues. They form different tissues. And then, who was Schwann? Schwann was a British zoologist. He studied both plant and animal cells. He studied both plant and animal cells, even though he was a zoologist. He reported that all cells are surrounded by a thin layer, and that thin layer we are now calling it as plasma membrane. So all cells are surrounded by plasma membrane, according to Schwann. And he studied plant cells also. After studying plant cells, and he stated that so cell wall is the unique feature of plants. That means plant cells only possess the cell wall. Animal cells does not possess the cell wall. This was the finding of the Schwann. But there is a drawback in this cell theory. What is the drawback? Cell theory could not explain how new cells are being formed. How new cells are being formed. So that is why another person called Rudolf Virchow, he first stated that all the cells arise from pre-existing cells. That means every cell arises from its mother cell only. Pre-existing cells means the cells are which are already existing. That means from mother cells. Mother cells. So this statement in his language is called omnis cellula e cellula. Omnis cellula e cellula in his language. Omnis cellula e cellula means all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Arise from pre-existing cells. So in the language of Rudolf Virchow, it is omnis cellula e cellula. And this theory proposed by Rudolf Virchow, it is called cell lineage theory. It is called cell lineage theory. So in this way, by adding this statement that all the cells arise from pre-existing cells, Rudolf Virchow modified cell theory. And now the cell theory is having these important postulates. What are the important postulates of cell theory? All cells arise from pre-existing cells, that is one thing. And all living organisms are made up of cells and the products of the cells. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. All organisms are made up of cells and their products, and all the activities of an organism are because of interactions between its cells. So these are the postulates of cell theory. So next let us see some question and answers basing on this cell theory. Who proposed cell theory? Schleiden and Schwann. Who was Schleiden and what he proposed? Schleiden was a German botanist. He studied only plant cells and he stated that all plants are made up of different types of cells which form different tissues. Who was Schwann and what he proposed? Schwann was a British zoologist. He studied both plant and animal cells. And he proposed that all plant cells are surrounded by a thin layer which is now being called as plasma membrane. And cell wall is the unique feature of the plant cells. That statement was also given by the Schwann. So then we will see some more questions basing on cell theory. What is the drawback of cell theory? Cell theory could not explain how new cells are formed. Who modified cell theory? Rudolf Virchow modified cell theory. What is the theory proposed by Rudolf Virchow is called? It is called cell lineage theory. Who has given the statement omnis cellula e cellula, and what is its meaning? It was given by Rudolf Virchow. It means that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. So that's all for now. In the next video, we will learn about an overview of the cell and different sizes and different shapes of the cell. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let us meet in the next video. Thank you all.